So Survivor Series came and went, and last night's Survivor Series was one of the best Survivor Series that WWE has had in a long time. There wasn't a match that was boring. Everything was hitting on speed control, the matches and everything. I'm going to talk about the highs and lows of the this event. I think there was more highs than lows. We're going to break it down, and we're going to have our next episode 221. We're going to review Survivor Series and whatnot, and give you my thoughts and my feedback on this event. And we are about to start episode 221 from the Chokeslam Wrestling Report.
Is the moment we've all been waiting for the thousands in attendance and the millions watching around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble!
Welcome to another episode of the Chokeslam Wrestling Report, episode 221, and we are live on the YouTube channel, and we're going to be talking about the Survivor Series of last night, and we're going to break it down non-tribalism. In this podcast, there is no tribalism. There's no favorites. I'm just going to break it down the way it is, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion. Now, this pay-per-view, the Survivor Series 2024, was one of the best pay-per-views when it comes to Survivor Series in a long time. Now, last year, yes, the ending of the Survivor Series last year was amazing because CM Punk returned to the WWE. Well, we already knew that he was going to come. He was going to show up somewhere, somehow, and whatnot. I still remember when it was almost ending. I'm like, CM Punk is not showing. It's just bull crap. And he showed up. But this pay-per-view that we had last night, Survivor Series, the WarGames from the women, the WarGames of the men, lived up to the hype, lived up to the storyline, and everything in it. Now, let's start off with the women's war game. Now, the women's war game, it was everything that you could imagine. They started off with Nia Jax versus Bayley and whatnot, and it kept on and on. The only problem I had in this match was every time after these two women were in there, every time a competitor will go to the ring, they will be going under the ring looking for weapons, which to me, that I remember, and I mean, I'm not going crazy, but I remember the War Games back then, they would not bring no damn weapons inside the ring. It would just go in. It was, the winner until someone submits. I don't remember pinfalls being admitted in these matches in the War Games back when they first started in 87. Now you're probably going to say, oh, you old, and, that's old school. But that's the original War Games. The original War Game is, win or surrender. There was no such thing as pinfall and whatnot. I guess because WWE doesn't want people getting hurt, trying not to submit in this match. And it lived up. You ain't had no Jay Cargill in there. I mean, there was rumors that Cargill was hurt. First they were saying it was her neck. Then they say it wasn't her neck. It was just nonsense. It was just a lot of crazy stuff going on during the week when it came to Jay Cargill. But this pay-per-view didn't need Jay Cargill. Let's be realistic. We didn't need Jay Cargill in there. This match lived up to what it was. I mean, there was, of course, the spot Io Sky putting a garbage can over her whole body and doing a moonsault from the top of the cage onto the ladies on the bottom. And then you had Tiffany Stratton doing, I believe she did a swanton, if I'm correct, to that effect, but she did the same thing from one side to the other side of the ring. And Raquel Rodriguez got caught being handcuffed on the side of the corner, which left up. I mean, the whole thing lived up to that. The only thing I was just bugging out was the mask that the Rhea Ripley had, and it pretty much let's be realistic. it was about time that Rhea Ripley got her hands on Liv Morgan, and she ended up pinning her and whatnot. Now that's going to lead to the next. I don't know when is the next pay per view. It might be Royal Rumble, which most likely I don't think December they'd have a pay per view, but pretty much as you can see right there that Rhea Ripley is going to get a title shot with Liv Morgan after doing the I think it's a move, the Eradicator, whatever it's the finishing move Rhea Ripley does from the top of the rope through the table, and pretty much. So that, I mean, they had toilet bowls, not bowls, actually, it was the toilet part from the top of the toilet. They Rhea Ripley broke that on Raquel Rodriguez. I mean, it was just a crazy match. It lived up. This, I don't know what it was, but this woman's WarGames was better than last year. And last year there was a lot of flops, a lot of things, but this one was like crazy. It was just, these women took it to the next level. You know what I'm saying? And at the end, Rhea Ripley's team ends up winning that and whatnot. Now, Tiffany Stratton tried to cash in. She had Liv Morgan and she had Nia Jax in the ring. She supposedly brought the garbage can, but inside the garbage can, she had her contract, her briefcase with the contract in it. Now, again, that was a very, very exciting part because I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to cash in. Raquel Rodriguez stopped that to happening. And then, as you know, what they do, they tease when it comes to this Money in the Bank thing with the women's and whatnot. And so that was very good. The whole match was good. I mean, from 1 to 5, I give it a 4.5. So it lived up to the hype. The next match was LA Knight against Nakamura. The LA Knight and whatnot, I don't think his U.S. title reign was that great. He wasn't doing much. It wasn't until Nakamura came into the scene and kind of got to his head. And the fact that Nakamura has been out of TV for God knows how long, and he ends up coming back with a different gimmick, different and evil, kind of dark gimmick. And pretty much on Friday, he pretty much threw the mist, the red mist into LA Knight's face. And that kind of, I like the way they did it because LA Knight came running from all the way to the back of the locker room, going straight to the ring and coming dead at Nakamura. Nakamura just sprayed him with the mist and whatnot. And Nakamura ends up beating pretty much LA Knight. He dominated most of that match. I mean, that's the way I saw it. You know, LA Knight looked like he wasn't comfortable in this match and whatnot. And you could see right away that, this was not a good night for LA Knight and whatnot. So pretty much we saw that happening. And Nakamura won his third United States title match in this. Now, the highs, again, Nakamura winning a title as soon as he comes back. He was out for 6-7 months and whatnot. The lows of that, there is no lows. I mean, I think they did the right call. LA Knight right now is not as hot as it was. And a lot of people will be like, no, you're wrong. But let's keep it real. After he fought Roman Reigns, he has not been hot like he was before. This is like it's the same thing with the Joe Henry thing. It's just a fever. And then after a while, when you see the wrestling not doing that great, now people lose interest. And that's the way the wrestling fans are today. They lose interest. And this is what happened to LA Knight. People go with this, all this nonsense, which I think is the Stone Cold Steve Austin, mimicking Stone Cold, but just saying instead of hell yeah, So, but I think they did the right call. They did the right call. LA Knight loses the belt and whatnot. And I think that was the right thing to do, and whatnot. So after that, what was the next match after that? Maybe I'm just like, you were a title match, then they had the triple threat intercontinental title match. This match, which Braun Breaker, Lucas Kaiser, and Sheamus, this match lived up to the hype too. This match was not boring. I think that match topped the one before that because the hard hitting, everything that you can imagine, what I'm saying? Lucas Kaiser, I mean, he really impresses me and whatnot. and they were living up to everything in this match. And the only thing I think the low part of this was, again, Sheamus in a Intercontinental title match, and he does not win that belt. He's missing that belt to be a Grand Slam champion. You know what I'm saying? And I mean, and I knew that Braun Breaker was not going to lose this belt. He just lost the belt now about a couple of months ago to Jey Uso. And I don't know why they did that for. And then that's pretty much, I guess, to set up what we saw last night, Bloodline versus Bloodline, but at the expense of Braun Breaker. Even though Braun Breaker got the belt back when the Bloodline cost Jey Uso the belt. But it was just like a back and forth thing. You know what I'm saying? So now you're not going to take the belt away from Braun Breaker because Braun Breaker just won the belt. And then, you know, they made it a three-way, which we know when you put a three-way, most of the time, you know, the guy who you think is going to win never wins. And last night, Sheamus did not win the belt. Now, am I mad that he didn't win the belt? Honestly, you know, no, because it was the right call. Braun Breaker's not going to lose the belt. I don't know what happened to Luke Kaiser. What's going to happen with him? Is he still going to feud with Sheamus? I mean, he did cause Sheamus the 3 count when he pulled the referee when he had Braun Breaker beat, and Breaker ends up regaining the belt. This match and lived up to the hype. That's the highs of it. It was just the way Braun Breaker does that spear. Everybody's doing a spear nowadays. I mean, you notice that everybody in wrestling is now doing a spear. You know, who does the best spear? That's a debate that we should have here with someone. But Braun Breaker hit that spear on Lucas Kaiser, and then when he hit Sheamus with it, we knew it was over. I mean, just feel bad that Sheamus has had opportunities to win the Intercontinental Champion, to become Grand Slam champion, and he still hasn't able to win that belt and whatnot. You know, it's just sad and whatnot. So that was the low point for me in that match, him not winning. Even though I knew that Braun Breaker was going to win, but it would have been a cool surprise. But then again, it would have been the low would have been you making Braun Breaker lose the belt again for the second time. You know what I'm saying? Do Sheamus need the Intercontinental title? In reality, he doesn't. But it would be nice if he get it. If he could be, you know, Grand Slam champion. You know, but overall the match was pretty good. It wasn't bad. I mean, it topped the match between Nakamura and LA Knight and whatnot. I think that LA Knight and that Nakamura match was more. Again, Nakamura dominated that match. It was surprising that he dominated the match. It was not really a back and forth thing compared to the 3-way that we saw last night. Then we had the world title match between Damian Priest and Gunther. Now, throughout the whole couple of weeks that we're doing this Gunther versus Damian Priest, pretty much they're making it look like Gunther lost his confidence because he lost to Cody Rhodes at Crown Jewel, the title versus title, whatever, to win the Crown Jewel belt and whatnot, which surprised me because I thought Gunther was going to win that. But they made it look like he had lost, confidence in himself. And that's the way they were playing that story the last couple of weeks. Now, the match was going back and forth. In the beginning, there was a fill-out process. There was a lot of chain wrestling, which I was surprised Damian Priest doing chain wrestling with another big guy. But they played it off where Damian Priest pretty much hurt himself, his shoulder. And that was what, throughout the whole match, it was, Damian Priest trying to overcome the injury, throwing Gunther and whatnot. Now, that was the high part. I liked the whole thing that was going, but here's the crazy part that I was like, when he fell off the top rope and landed, I thought, damn, he's definitely hurt. Here comes Finn Balor. Balor comes out of nowhere and coup de grace, stomps Damian Priest outside, causes the match. Now, this is the part that I don't understand why WWE, when it did a rinse and repeat here and whatnot. Didn't we see this after SummerSlam where Damian Priest and Rhea Ripley were feuding with the Judgment Day? There was rest of Judgment Day right now. I didn't get that. I really, really didn't get that. Like, what are we doing? Why are we going backwards to this Damian Priest versus Finn Balor again. It's not really needed. It's not really needed. I mean, what these guys are going to go up because Finn Balor's jealous? That's the story you running with. For that, you could have done back in August. We're in December now, and we're still going to start this all over again. Finn Balor against Damian Priest, and if you really think about it, it's a mismatch. You're going to have the whole Judgment Day jumping Damian Priest by himself, and then who is he bringing in for backup? Or is he going to bring in I think who the hell did they just beat? I forgot who they just beat last week, and one in Raw. But it's just nonsense. Like I didn't like that was the low part for me in that match. Having Finn Balor interfere in a match that 4 months ago he did the same thing at SummerSlam, cost Priest the world title. Why are we going back to that again? It just didn't make no sense to me. I just don't get it. I really don't get it. But I don't know where they gonna go with this now. Now they got Saturday Night Main Event coming around, so maybe they'll put that. I don't know what day is this, December something. They're gonna do that. I think it's the 15, 16. I don't know what it is. I know it's probably one of those days where either Ring of Honor has a Ring of Honor has their show, and New Japan has their show and whatnot. But yeah. So I mean, I just don't get it. I just don't get how we're going there again with Damian Priest and Finn Balor. So that was the low point there. So now we go to the main event. The main event, of course, was Bloodline 2.0 versus the original Bloodline. Now this match had everything. It had the suspense of whether CM Punk was going to turn on Roman Reigns. Was Roman Reigns turning on CM Punk? What was Paul Heyman when they first started the WarGames? During the WarGames with the Solo Sikoa's Bloodline, they were dominating most of the match. You had Bronson Reed. That guy's a beast. And then you got Jacob Fatu in that ring. So, I mean, Jacob Fatu got hit with everything you could name, and he was still, my man was doing flips, was doing everything. But when everybody was in the ring and whatnot, but let me get before that, the suspense of when it was Roman Reigns, CM Punk, and I believe it was Sami Zayn in the case left. Punk wanted to go first, and Roman stopped him. So right there was already tension. You don't know what you're going to get or whatever, but you did not know. And then after that was Punk and Roman, and CM Punk just went first and let Roman to be the last guy to come out. But it was after Roman went in, which he climbed over the gate, which I felt was kind of stupid the way they did that. That was the low part where Roman's going up there, 5 guys coming at them, he beats everybody up, whatever the case may be. But I toward the ending of the match, Jacob Fatu was gonna do that move that he does. He jumps the second rope, third rope, and does that flip. He does this all the time, but apparently he slipped, hurt his hamstring, hurt his leg. He was limping through most of the match. This is the second time we have seen Jacob Fatu lose balance or does something that hurts his leg. So I don't know if he was legitimately hurt or that was part of the script, but I think he definitely got hurt because they kept going to him. The referee kept checking on him. Bronson Reed was checking on him. Bronson Reed went to the top of the damn cage, from the top of the cage, and tried to do a tsunami from up there and missed completely. If it wasn't for CM Punk that took out Roman Reigns would have been done. Then you had Jimmy Uso go and do the Uso splash from the top of the cage onto Jacob Fatu. And that pretty much sealed probably Fatu's fate for the rest of the night. Afterwards, all 5 members took their turn to grab Solo Sikoa and pretty much take him out. And the original Bloodline ends up winning this match. Now, the conversation now will be, what is the favor that CM Punk has that wants from Paul Heyman? And that's going to be the talk of the town now for the next couple of weeks, maybe all the way to the Rumble. But you already see everything, the story, not the Bloodline versus Bloodline, is that over? Because right now, they just beat Solo Sikoa. Now what's the next move? Now we're going to have to wait to SmackDown to see where they're going to go with that. There's word that Roman Reigns will be going to Raw after January and whatnot because of Netflix. Netflix wants him. He's probably going to be there all the way to WrestleMania, and he'll go back to, to SmackDown. So he'll probably come on both shows and whatnot. I'm still asking this question. And the question is, where is Hikuleo? Did WWE, this man hasn't done nothing in the last 7 months. You know what I'm saying? So is it they trying to make him a better wrestler and they're waiting for the right moment or what? That's question number one. Question number two, is Jacob Fatu really hurt? And that's another question we got to ask. And how is that going to affect the storyline of the Bloodline and whatnot? 3, is Paul Heyman turning on Roman Reigns? Because that is the question, especially that favor he has for, CM Punk. At the end, all of them, got together and took the crowd's reaction and whatnot. But that is something we got to see now coming up the next couple of weeks, especially now with Saturday Night Main Event coming up. We don't know what's going to happen with that and whatnot. So it's crazy, but we'll see and whatnot. Let me know what you think of this, this live take of the Survivor Series 2024 WarGames and whatnot. And do you think Nakamura winning the United States title was the right move? And do you think they'll give it back to LA Knight? And again, the Bloodline drama, is that over with? When is Hikuleo going to debut and whatnot? Are there going to be more Samoans coming in? When is The Rock coming? That's the question. The Rock should be coming soon. And then he's probably going to show up, probably sign that main event. I won't be surprised if he does. Something crazy and whatnot. So, there was a story with Jade Cargill. Is she going to turn on Bianca? That looks like that's going to happen. Is she really hurt? Is she not hurt? Questions, no answers yet. So we'll see what happens and whatnot the next couple of weeks and whatnot to see what happens. So until then, guys, that is it for me today. That is my take on this whole Survivor Series. Let me know what you think, guys. Again, follow me on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell for new uploads and whatnot. You want to follow me on social media, you can follow me on Facebook, Instagram, the X and whatnot. And you can see my little clips on TikTok with the Chokeslam Wrestling. Most likely it's the Chokeslam. You'll find it. So you'll see a bunch of little clips that I have there and whatnot. And this is a Jonas Podcasting Network podcast. So, again, a lot of love to Mr. Scott. He's the one keeping it around, and I know for sure the UK people are watching me right now. So again, let me know what you think. Leave me your comments. Hey, again, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the channel, subscribe to the channel. Also, guys, if you want the merchandise, the merch and the podcast, you can go to tcwr.veryimpressive.com. That's tcwr.veryimpressive.com. That's tcwr.veryimpressive.com. You can get your hats, your t-shirts, your sweaters. You can get that. Now that December is here, you can go check that out and give someone a gift, one for Christmas. So until then, guys, I am the ultimate one from the Chokeslam Wrestling Report from New York City. I will see you guys next week with more of the Chokeslam Wrestling Report.